Okay, let's take a look at some works that confront the fact that we're all careening toward the inevitable. Just kidding. Well, no, not really. Memento Mori is a Latin phrase that literally means remember that you must die. It is an important subject in the study of art because all cultures have had to figure out how to deal with death. Often a memento mori memorializes the deceased. Sometimes the memento mori is a literal reminder of our inevitable expiration that also expresses a specific ideology. This fresco is a trompe-l'oeil scene within a chapel. When standing in front of it, the viewer's eye level will be roughly at the base of the cross, which also happens to be the vanishing point. Looking up, you gaze into the face of Christ with God and a dove representing the Holy Spirit above him. Flanking Christ are the Virgin Mary and St. John. Just outside of that space, not quite within the Holy Realm, are two of the patrons, people who commissioned the fresco. Gazing down, the viewer is confronted with a skeleton that represents Adam. Writing in Latin states, "What you are, I once was. What I am, you will become." Together, the fresco serves to remind the viewer both of their inevitable end and the importance of their faith, as the only salvation is through God. This Vanitas painting by Dutch Golden Age artist Clara Peters is a similar reminder, though without the strong religious overtones. It is likely a self-portrait. Here she looks youthful and beautiful, displaying all the trappings of the upper class. The Dutch are known for cataloging their possessions as a sign of their status and taste. The gold objects, the urn, tray, coins, and jewelry, all represent money. Her lace collar expresses her status. Pearls usually refer to the Virgin Mary and represent purity. In her hand is either a small mirror that alludes to vanity, or it could be a little clock, a reminder of the passage of time. The dice represent chance and death. Beauty and financial gain, of course, are fleeting things you can't take with you. To reinforce this idea, she included other ephemeral objects. The cut flowers could symbolize spring, fertility, love, but once cut are dying. The most transient object of all, though, is the very conspicuous and expertly rendered bubble. The image overall is a bit ironic in that it displays her possessions while reminding the viewer that material objects are only temporary. I included a Victorian Memento Mori photograph in the introduction to this section, but here are a few more. Having a photograph taken was expensive and time-consuming as shutter speeds were quite slow. However, it was so much cheaper and practical than sitting for a portrait to be painted. Death used to happen in the home and family members would prepare the body. It wasn't until the 1920s that death became institutionalized and we began sending all of our old or sick people off to hospitals to die. It was a good opportunity to have a photo taken of the deceased, but embalming wasn't common practice, so everything had to take place pretty quickly. Here is a dead man propped up. And if you ever see a Victorian photo with an empty chair in it, I mean, why? Also, look near the feet. This is the base of a rod that goes up his back to hold him upright. Often the family posed with the deceased. Just be thankful, no matter what your parents did to you, they probably didn't make you dress like your dead sibling and take a photo. The last image has a small child held up by a not so convincing chair under which we can clearly see a person's head and arms. This might be a dead child. Until probably the 1950s, it was common for children to die young as we lacked immunizations and good medical care. It might, however, be an example of what we call a hidden mother, where for some reason mother hides herself. Okay. Finally, here are some Victorians goofing around to make you feel a little bit better about all the death.